Good day buddies, I hope you're doing well out there. In today's video, I'll be doing an update on the Diacama colony that we previously moved to a new nest almost 2 months ago. We'll also make them an Outworld prototype, that can house several critters, and ant colonies at the same time. If this one succeeds, I plan to use it on my other ant colonies as well. Anyway, welcome back buddies. And for those new to the channel, you're also welcome to D-Colony. Just a quick recap. Last time we moved the colony to a new nest, cause their 1-year-old setup badly needs some cleaning and renovation. The ants immediately start digging, taking only several days to construct enough room for the whole colony to move. As planned before, I gave them a temporary outworld so we can work freely on the renovation. On their last update, it's also revealed that multiple critters, and even another ant colony is living with the Diacamas. You can check their last update here on the iCard, or in the description. Anyway, those organisms are my inspiration for our today's creation. Cause we will be designing a setup that hopefully can house them together, and have some better interactions, and a little food chain in the process. Anyway, let's check their old world. I already removed the rocks, driftwood, and cork barks. Look at the substrate buddies. This is what happens when there's a lot of critters constantly moving, burrowing in the soil. Like the isopods, buffalo beetles, and its larvae. So in the new setup, there will be a special place for them to do their thing. Anyway, cleaning the enclosure is done. We can now start the build. I cut some Sintra boards that I will be using to make a room for the Pedoli colony in the Outworld. I'm gonna fill it up with soil and sand mixture to create the space for them. Let's also moisten it a bit. Oops, I made it too wet. But no worries, we can use tissue paper to remove the excess water. I'm also using a cardboard, cause this material is easy to bend. Perfect for making the curves that I want, to easily make a mold for the hard area. Cause my plan buddies is to create an island that is solid, which some of the critters will be off limits, and will be unable to dig on them. A little bit complicated, but we'll be explaining more as we progress. Anyway, I'm using a mesh to block the nest entrance of the Pedoli colony. Made a hole that only the size of them can fit. This way the Diacamas can't bother them by digging their nest, which they always do in their old setup. More privacy upcoming for the lovely little colony. We're installing two, cause one of them will be the hydration port. I'm using a grout for the solid part buddies. But before pouring the mixture, I added a plaster of Paris. So the mixture will dry up much quicker, cause if the mixture takes a day, or even an hour to dry out, the cardboard mold will soften, and collapse 100%. So, I really need to mix some plaster. I use a ratio of 1 part plaster, and 5 parts grout. We're going to put a rock, and artificial plants as well. I originally planned to construct multiple Pedoli nest, which one of them is supposed to be located on this small island. But since this was still a prototype, I decided to go for a single one. We can now remove the mold. As you may observed, the cardboard softens badly because of the moisture from the mixture. If we didn't mix the plaster earlier, this will collapse for sure. Anyway, let's check the Pedoli nest. I guess it's fine since I can still see the entrance holes from the mesh. I messed up this part, but unlike our previous builds, I will not bother carving the sides, as this part will mostly get covered by the substrate. And speaking of it, let's lay it in. Shall we? This will be like an ocean of sand. The solid parts will not be an island without an ocean after all. Just kidding. Anyway, the substrate that we're using is a mixture of sand, soil, and cocoa peat. It would be cool if we color the substrate blue buddies, but I don't like using materials that might harm the organisms living on it. Let's put some fishes to the sea buddies. I mean, put the buffalo beetles back, cause we collected some of them to continue living here. These guys were used to live here with the diacamas, and they have adjusted pretty well. Even though they've been separated for weeks, since I changed the outworld. Cause I don't have the time right away to start the project. Let's also introduce the diacama colony. I already disconnected their current setup, and there's a lot of workers stuck on the outworld, which is normal, cause right now is their usual feeding time. We'll connect the nest to the right, and the temporary outworld to the left, but before we do that, let's check the vertical nest quick. Unfortunately, we can't see a lot of broods, since half of the chamber is covered with sand particles. I believe this is their countermeasure to me, checking them using a flashlight few days ago. But what surprised me more, is they dug out almost all of the sand in the nest. Even though they don't need that much space yet. I guess they did it, cause they want the ventilation opened, that's located at the top of the nest. Anyway, let's get the setup connected. I'm transferring the water feeders as well. I gave them this new one a week ago, but they don't like drinking on it. They still prefer to use the old one, which I need to clean anytime soon. Oh no. A worker caught a pupating larvae. This stage of the beetle's life, which is pre-pupae, is what the ants usually caught by digging on their old setup. Cause these guys can't move that much while pupating. Let's give them an additional food, a mealworm. Look at the beetle as it tries to feed on it as well. But the ants don't like to share any of it. Some workers aren't moving buddies, so I will give them a little help. After just a few minutes, all the workers is now on the new outworld, enjoying their brand new home, with their buddies. Speaking of buddies, I forgot to tell you about the Pedoli colony. I didn't collect them on the outworld while cleaning, cause they moved to the vertical nest with the diacamas. I saw their queen here few days ago, with some of their broods. But it seems they have another crevices inside the nest that they occupy. Or they might also move to another place outside the nest, cause I'm sure they have access outside the ant farm since the introduction of the new nest. Cause aside from the roaming tiny ants. Look at these buddies, dead acrobat ants. I believe they collected this as food, from the container, where I put ants garbage from different colonies. I'm still hoping that the Pedoli colony will find their way to the nest we created for them in the new outworld. But if happens, they decided to move out of the setup, which is a big possibility. I might try introducing a new queen of the same species to the said nest. But I'm more than happy to find out these Pedoli species' ability to coexist with another colony in just a small outworld. A great scavenging colony indeed. This species is pretty abundant in my area buddies, so expect some experiment videos on this species. Especially on their ability to live peacefully, with another ant symbiotically. I just hope you have learned something from this video guys. Be a genie for the first time, by granting my wish and tapping the like and share button, that would help a lot. This is D Colony, saying goodbye. For now. But hoping to see you on my next videos.